The signing, Jadon Sancho officially leaves Manchester United. This deal is officially done. He's joining Chelsea. I think overall this deal is a bit disappointing, right? You lose Jadon Sancho without a replacement, right? You lose Jadon Sancho without a proper replacement. And this is a loan with an obligation to buy. So this is actually disappointing. Jadon Sancho officially gone. Overall, our transfer has been disappointing. Our transfer window has been disappointing. How you doing, bro? Sancho is gone. He's officially gone. And I think this is massive news. Obviously, David Ornstein is reporting that Sancho is gone. All parties have signed the deal, and oh yeah, it's a done deal. Sancho's gone. It's a here we go from Fabrizio. David Ornstein has confirmed it. And overall, I'm just disappointed that Man United, we don't have a replacement right now. Right? These are the deals you leave until. How do you leave this? It's a loan. It's a loan transfer. Jadon Sancho is gone. Loan deal. It's over. It's over for Sancho at Manchester United with an obligation to buy. He's going to Chelsea. Chelsea, Sancho, it's game over. Right? So, yeah, no replacement will come in for Manchester United. The window is shutting in an hour. In an hour, the window is closed, but Sancho, he's going to do his medical. There is also news that he'll be in London. No, Sterling is going to Arsenal. So Sterling is going to Arsenal. Jadon Sancho, his deal with Chelsea, it's all done with an obligation to buy. It's game over. Sancho, Chelsea, they've signed the deal. Contract has been signed, and he'll have the medical in an hour, right? He's already in London. No, Sterling is not coming. Sterling, it's an individual deal, right? It's an individual transfer. Sterling is not coming. And overall, Manchester United, we've lost Jadon Sancho without a replacement. That's my main worry, because our attack is already so weak, right? Because we need more people in attack. Losing Sancho, of course, Sancho wasn't playing, but then you're strengthening Chelsea. Chelsea will be stronger. Sancho, Cole Palmer, Pedro Neto. This is a scary attack. And overall, we need to do something. If they can do something in an hour, at least a loan deal or something, Raheem Sterling won't be coming. Overall, Sancho, I wish him luck, but I don't want him to perform at Chelsea, because Chelsea, they're our biggest rivals. One of our biggest rivals. And overall, need to improve this camera as well. But they're our biggest rivals, and strengthening Chelsea, this is just disappointing. Overall, I wanted him to go somewhere like Juventus, not Chelsea. We don't have any backups. No one is coming. Sancho is going. We're not getting anything from him. It's an obligation to buy. So it's a loan deal, obligation to buy. And overall, David Ornstein, he was the first one to actually break the story. Sancho's gone. It's game over for Jadon at Manchester United with an obligation to buy. Apparently, it's between £20 million to £25 million. So, yeah, we've made a massive loss on Jadon Sancho, because when he came, bro, we've made a massive loss. We've made a massive loss, because when he came, we bought him for so much money, right? If you remember the Jadon Sancho deal, we bought him for so much, and I think he was over 70 million. So to sell him for 20 million pounds is a massive loss, especially now that our attack were failing to score, were failing to actually win games. I know he was toxic, but you could still get more money for him. Jadon Sancho is the type of player you can get a lot of money for, right? You could have sold him for at least 50 million. At least 50 million. That loan spell he had at Dortmund raised his stock. He reached the Champions League final. So based on that, I think we've made a loss, massive loss, because he reached the final of the Champions League with Dortmund. So at least 50 million. There are academy players going for 20 million pounds. So we've lost a lot of money on this transfer. We've lost a lot of money on this transfer. We could have made more from Sancho. That's my main disappointment. My main disappointment is we could have actually made more from Jadon Sancho. Let me just fix this. And overall, I want him to succeed. Of course, I want every player that actually leaves Manchester United to succeed, but not at Chelsea. Chelsea, I hate Chelsea. I hope he doesn't really do well at Chelsea. Of course, Jadon Sancho, when he came in, we had high hopes. We had high hopes. Everybody was excited. But right now, there's something wrong with the camera. Damn. I can't even keep this straight. I genuinely need to get a new camera. But right now, extremely disappointed that Sancho is leaving for such a low amount, right? For such a low amount. Sancho in a Chelsea shirt, that will be extremely disappointing. And I think him as a player, he wanted this. He wanted to go to a club where he's gonna play more. But at Chelsea, there's more competition. So will Sancho play? Will he not play? It's a massive doubt, because at Chelsea you have a lot of competition. You have a lot of players. You're actually fighting a lot of players for your position, because Chelsea, they have a lot of attacking players. Cole Palmer, Pedro Neto, João Felix. So yeah, they're signing players based on the long term. And Manchester United, yes, we've strengthened, but the attack is a bit weak. The midfield, you still need one or two more midfielders. So this season, I think it's gonna be a hard season, because you lose Jadon Sancho. Yes, he didn't play last season, but he gives you an option. I think he's a better option than someone like Anthony. Anthony, as an option, he's not really a great option. Anthony won't give you a lot. And overall, I just wish that the board planned this extremely well, right? Thanks. I just wish the board planned this better, because with Jadon Sancho, transfers like this, you gotta plan ahead and then get a replacement. If you got a replacement, if you actually got somebody to replace Jadon Sancho, they left this transfer for too late. It happened too late. Last day of the window, transfer deadline, and then you decide to actually sell someone that you need to replace without a replacement, without anybody actually coming in. Because now the attack, you need another person to come in. Because if you actually look at our attack, it's extremely weak. Extremely weak, because I don't have confidence in Anthony. I don't have confidence in Marcus Rashford. And of course, Garnacho, he's improving, but he's still young. Of course, Amad Diallo, he's shown us a lot of ability, but he's still young. So overall, I'm not against selling Sancho, but bring somebody in that can fill in that position, that can fill in some type of it, just add to the value of the squad, add to the squad and bring in competition, because this is so disorganized by the club, leaving it to the last minute. This is so disorganized, and I just wish the board actually planned this a bit better, a bit earlier, because Jadon Sancho, we know how good he is when he's actually perform. If he actually performs at Chelsea, and if he reaches his potential, we look bad if Jadon Sancho actually performs, because selling him for £20 million, if this man actually performs, it's extremely bad business. It's extremely bad business, because in a few years, if he wins trophies at Chelsea and if he's a key part for Chelsea's development, we look foolish for only taking £20 million. We should have at least taken 50 million pounds minimum. This is a player a lot of people saw as one of the best, one of the up and coming talents of British football. Generally, he was one of the up and coming players. Jadon Sancho, I think this is a massive loss. This is a massive loss based on how much we're losing him for. 20 million is too low. You needed at least 40, at least 50. So overall, let's see how the board actually replied to this transfer. If you can, in January, go for another attacking player that can actually fill in the boots of a Jadon Sancho, because in the academy, we don't have a player that can come in and fill the spot, right? Our academy, we saw them in preseason. The attacking players from the academy, they're not good enough to be starting. They're not good enough to be on the bench. So overall, all we needed was at least a player to come in to replace Sancho. Not even necessarily replace him, but just somebody to add quality, right? If you're gonna sell someone, plan it. Don't leave it on the last day and then now you don't have anyone to actually fill in. You don't have anyone to actually replace him. And this is so disorganized by Manchester United, simply because you don't have a replacement. Now, what are we gonna do? He's not gonna come back because it's an obligation to buy, right? January, I hope the club actually go in for an attacking player that can actually bring in quality, because we know Anthony is below average. We know Rashford is declining massively. So overall, we need somebody to come in that can add some type of quality, add some type of ability. And just disappointed that he's going to Chelsea. I'm not disappointed that he's leaving, just that it's Chelsea, a rival club that can actually compete for the highest trophies. I'm just so disappointed that Sancho's going to Chelsea. And this is a team we're going to be competing with for top four. We're strengthening Chelsea without bringing in anyone. That's so disorganized by Manchester United. And overall, I expected a better plan. If you're going to do things like this, have a plan. Have a plan of somebody coming in. Because we saw our attack. Yes, Sancho, he won't take us to that level because he hasn't been playing or performing, but at least identify those problems. We already know that that's a problem. Attacking area is a problem, right? So identify it and then bring in someone that can lift up the quality, that can take us to that level we want to be at, right? Liverpool, they signed an extremely good attacking player. Chiesa. And as Manchester United, Zerski, he's not enough. And we saw that in our previous game. Zerski is not enough. Our attack is really lacking. And the board decide to sell Jadon Sancho. It's extremely poor. It's extremely poor management by the board. This is because you needed at least a replacement. At least buy someone to come in. Not just selling the player. Of course, Sancho, it hasn't worked out. But there is quality in that player. Yes, of course, him and Eric Ten Hag fell out. But he can literally bring back his career. And just disappointed that we had to actually lose Jadon Sancho. I think this is gonna hurt us in the season, right? Especially not bringing in someone that can replace him. This is gonna hurt us during the season, and it's gonna decline us massively. Manchester United, you at least needed another attacking player, because we've seen Anthony for the past few games, sorry. He has been below average. Rashford has been below average. Sometimes you cannot rely on Ahmad or Garnacho, right? There'll be some games they won't perform. So the board, you needed to bring in another attacking player. Zerski, it's going to take him some time to adapt. It's going to take him some time to settle in. So I'm disappointed that we're closing this window without another attacking player, right? Necessarily, you just need another player to add some quality. You just need another player to add something to the team. Of course, I'm not upset that was selling Sancho. I'm just upset that you didn't bring in somebody to improve the attack. The attack is lacking. Rashford, he's underperforming. Anthony, he's underperforming. So we have two attacking players underperform. And overall, with Sancho gone, we only have Anthony, Rashford, Garnacho, and Ahmad as wing players, right? So two of those four are underperforming, Anthony and Rashford. Both of them are underperforming. So now you're only relying on Garnacho or Ahmad. So right now, I expected the board at least to bring in another attacking player, right? To improve the quality. You can never have too much quality in a team. Of course, it was time to actually move on. With Jadon Sancho, it wasn't going to work out. It's either you keep Jadon Sancho or you keep Eric Ten Hag. So we've seen the side the board actually took, right? They decided to keep Eric Ten Hag, and this was inevitable for Jadon Sancho to be sold because him and Eric Ten Hag, they actually had a massive falling out. So right now, this was inevitable, but the board, you should have anticipated this and said, no, let's actually get somebody to fill in these boots, to actually improve the quality, to actually take us to a new level. Because Sancho, of course, he wasn't playing, he wasn't actually contributing, but just having that quality in case you have injuries. Last season, we were complaining about injuries, right? Imagine if either Garnacho or Anthony or Diallo get injured. And now we're stuck with Rashford and Anthony, two players that are underperforming. If Garnacho or Ahmad get injured, we're stuck with Rashford. And so I'm disappointed that the board, they didn't strengthen with the attacking areas. You have to strengthen. You gotta strengthen. And it's a bit worrying that they never planned this transfer, right? You knew that you didn't want Jadon Sancho at the club. What you should have done is sold him earlier and then brought in a replacement. He left for £20 million. 20 million to 25 million pounds. That's what David Ornstein is actually reporting. So yeah, that's a bit low, right? I expected a bit more for Jadon Sancho, but at least we recovered some money from the Scott McTominay deal. The Scott McTominay deal got us some money, and overall, in January, we have to go back into the transfer window, try and get an attacking player. Because if you try and get an attacking player, it actually improves you in the long run, right? Getting that attacking player improves you in the long run because we can see our options, right? Some days Rashford won't perform, right? Majority of the season Anthony won't perform. So our options are lacking. At at the best, Ogate is official. He's officially signed and he's a Manchester United. They've officially announced him. Unfortunately, I can't upload videos. That's why I'm only doing live streams, right? Ogate is official. I would have dropped a video, but the Matrix, the mainstream media, they attacked the channel. So right now, I can't post videos for a while. I can only do live streams, but soon that'll be lifted by YouTube, and then I'll be back to posting the normal videos. But right now, I can only do live streams. So yeah, overall, if you had to actually rate the window, I think we've strengthened with the defense. The defense is positive, right? Our defense looks strong. It looks positive. Ogate, he improves our midfield. But overall, I think Zersky, he still needs to prove himself. So I think the board should have actually bought another attacking player just to take us to that level of comfortability, that level of certainty, right? In case Zersky doesn't work out, we still have an attacker that can actually improve the team. We still have an attacker that can actually contribute to the team. So overall, I'm just disappointed that he's joining Chelsea. Chelsea are a massive rival, right? If he performs at Chelsea, I'll be upset. I'll be upset. If they get top 4 ahead of us, I'll be upset. I think a lot of fans will be upset if Chelsea get top 4 over us. So overall, I'm not upset that we're selling Jadon Sancho. I'm just upset that it's to Chelsea. Chelsea, if this transfer actually works out, if he becomes the player we bought him to be, I'll be extremely upset because we know Sancho, yes, it hasn't worked out, but he has a lot of talent. He has a lot of talent. I don't know what happened with him and the manager. The falling out with him and the manager wasn't great, but we can't deny the talent Jadon Sancho has. And if he takes Chelsea to that next level, we're in big trouble because only selling him for 20 million, it's below average, right? At least get 40 million for Jadon Sancho, at least 40 million. And then the planning from the board was disappointing because we expected at least you bringing in somebody. It is low, 20 million. That's what academy players are going for, right? You're selling him like he's Anthony Alanga. That's what academy players are going for. I think Chelsea, they bought Cole Palmer for a bit more than 20 million. So say Jadon Sancho, he played in a Champions League final. We should have been able to at least get 40 million for him. 20 million pounds is low. It's extremely low, and you need to actually manage your business well, because if you got more for Jadon Sancho, in January you can buy somebody better. You can actually look for somebody better and invest that money. Of course, in the market, there are very few attackers that are actually performing at a high level. But I put my trust in the board to actually replace Jadon Sancho. January or the summer, you need to replace Sancho. You need to replace Marcus Rashford. You need to replace Anthony, because these 3 players, they're not performing to a level we expect. Anthony, he's underperforming, right? Next season, I expect them to actually have a plan and say, okay, this guy, 2 seasons, he hasn't been performing. Let's get somebody new, right? Rashford, you can see he's on the decline. Okay, let's get somebody new. I expect the board to actually have a plan in January because 3 of these attacking players, they're underperforming. Anthony, Rashford, Sancho is gone. So you genuinely need more attacking players because this is going to hurt us in the long run. Jadon Sancho leaving, yes, I'm not upset that he's gone. It's just that he's going to Chelsea, right? Strengthening Chelsea. And at least you should have gotten more money for him. Look how they actually scammed us with the Mason Mount deal, right? Mason Mount wanted to leave, but then Chelsea kept holding on and we overpaid. We overpaid. That's what we should have done with Jadon Sancho. We should have made Chelsea overpay for this transfer because we had nothing to lose. If he stayed, it doesn't really matter. If he leaves, it doesn't really matter. But we at least should have gotten a bit more money for Jadon Sancho. Oh. And overall, let's hope we win against Liverpool because this season we have a great chance to win the Europa League. We have a great chance to actually win either the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. But the Europa League, there'll be some good teams in that competition. Yeah, and Liverpool, their manager is new. So we should be the favorites. They have a new manager. He's still settling in. So we should be the favorites. This is not Jurgen Klopp. This is Liverpool under a new manager. So we should go there expecting to win. Because this manager, he's not settled in yet. We shouldn't get beaten by a manager that's still new to the job, still adapting to the Premier League, still adapting to his new team. We should be the favorites for that game. So if we don't win against Liverpool, it'll be extremely disappointing because the manager they have is still settling in, right? Erik ten Hag, he's been here for 3 years. So we should be the favorites who are at home. And Liverpool, their new manager, he's still settling in. He's still making himself at home. I know we lost in preseason, but right now you have better players. De Ligt is here. Mazraoui is here. Obviously, Ogate, he won't be able to play this game because we registered him too late, right? So he won't be available for this game. But then Liverpool, we have a better defense than we had in the preseason game. In the preseason game, people, if you watched it, you will remember it was Johnny Evans and Lindelof. Johnny Evans and Lindelof, that was our defense against Liverpool. So right now, both of those players won't play. Preseason, those players played and we lost. But right now, it's a different team. It's a different defense. And the Liverpool manager, we saw some weaknesses in preseason. We saw some weaknesses that we should exploit. And the previous games Liverpool have played, we've seen some weaknesses that we can actually exploit. And when Erik ten Hag was at Ajax, he was facing this manager on a regular basis, right? On a derby basis. So he's familiar with the new Liverpool manager. He's familiar with how the new Liverpool manager plays. So we should be actually the favorites. Erik ten Hag, he's beaten this manager before at Ajax. So he should be able to beat him again. We'll be at home and the fans will be with us, right? At home. The new Liverpool manager, he really doesn't have a lot of experience with this new team, right? It's a new team for him. So we should be the favorites. We should go into that Liverpool game expecting to win. We should go into that Liverpool game expecting a massive performance. Overall, I just hope we build a winning run, right? And it has to start with Liverpool. If you can build a winning run, it can take you extremely far. If you take yourselves extremely far, that will be extremely ex- exceptional, right? So I'm I'm shocked that we haven't brought in any other attacker, but overall, I won't complain with the window we've had. We've strengthened the defense, so overall, it's positive that our defense has become so much better. Before, we were stuck with Harry Maguire on a weekly basis, right? And now we have Delit, and now we have someone like Lenny Yoro when he comes back from his injury. So I can't complain about the window. We've strengthened a lot, and sometimes it's about baby steps. Baby steps. You're taking those steps. At least we're progressing. Under the Glazers, there wouldn't be any progress, right? So at least this window, we've seen some type of progress. We've seen some type of elevation from Manchester United. And this elevation, it starts with the defense. The defense has, yeah, based on the defense, it's been a great window, right? Look at the defense we've done. We've covered the right back. We've covered two defenders, and we've covered Ogate, right? A good midfielder that will improve the midfield. So I think the strategy from Ineos was okay, let's take it step by step, right? This window, we cover the defense and a bit of the midfield. The next window, we see what we actually need. We see, okay, attacking players, Anthony isn't working, let's replace him. Okay, this guy isn't working, let's replace him. So I think they have a strategy, but I won't complain too much that we haven't signed another attacker because we've done something. Yeah, Kobe and Ogate, it might be a good partnership. It might be a good partnership, and overall, let's just see how this team actually grows and progresses together, because Manchester United, we want to see the best for the club. We want to see the best for this overall team, right? And I have high hopes for what we're building. We're building something, but it's gonna take time, of course. Of course, if the people in the club think, okay, Jadon Sancho, he's a liability, he's causing a lot of trouble, I understand selling him, right? I understand. I completely understand. Okay, he's a liability, he's causing a lot of trouble, he's causing a lot of this, right? I'm not inside the club watching what they do. I'm not an insider seeing what the club actually do. But if they actually analyze Jadon Sancho, right? Because they're new coaching staffs now, right? Ruud van Nistelrooy is there. We have new people in. We'll never know, right? Maybe Eric Ten Hag has something against Jadon Sancho, but overall, I'm just happy that the board actually picked a side. They picked a side and said, okay, it's either we're gonna pick Sancho or the manager, and they picked the manager. If Eric Ten Hag doesn't succeed, we should always put the manager above everybody else. We should. It doesn't matter how good the player is. We should put the manager above everybody else. But I think we should have sold him for a bit more money, right? We should have actually gotten a bit more money. I'm not upset that he's gone. I'm just upset with the price. We could have actually gotten more money. It's like if you're selling a car and then you know for yourself, okay, I could have gotten more money for that car. You'll be disappointed if you don't actually get the valuation you wanted. We should have got more, right? Like, yeah, like the Mount deal, Mason Mount. We saw how Chelsea actually stretched us out, because when we were buying Mason Mount, we were meant to buy him for 30 million, but then Chelsea, they stretched it out, and we ended up paying their asking price. So overall, we should have done the same thing with Jadon Sancho, get more money for him, and then that money, it can go into the next transfer window, which can in January, which can actually bring in another player, right? There are other players that can replace Jadon Sancho. It's not the end of the world. We've lost better players than Jadon Sancho. We lost Cristiano Ronaldo, so Jadon Sancho didn't do what Ronaldo actually did, right? So we've lost better players at Manchester United. We know, okay, in a few years, we'll get another brilliant player playing for Manchester United, because right now, I think the strategy was, okay, let's build the defense, let's build a bit of the midfield, and then there'll be a window where we go crazy with attacking players, because Rashford, I think they're going to try and actually replace him in a few years, right? Next season or the season after, I expect the board to actually try and replace Rashford. And then the same thing goes with Anthony. If Anthony doesn't perform this season, I think next season we'll be trying to replace him. So I think right now it was about strengthening the defense. We strengthened the defense, and then you go again. You go again. January, yeah, we probably have to replace our wingers in a few years, right? A lot of our wingers in a few years, and obviously the board know what they're doing, right? We can't judge them based on one transfer. Of course, as fans, we wanted to see a bit more money, but that money will come. That money will come with other players. The money we got from Scott McTominay is pretty good. It's pretty decent. It's pretty amazing. The Scott McTominay deal, I have to give them credit, because you got decent amount of money for Scott McTominay. And overall, the Glazers, they just love money. We know that. We know that the Glazers, they don't even watch football. They just come in, get their money, go out, right? Their priority was top four. Okay, if this manager can't get top four, he's gone. That's the Glazers. They wouldn't have had a strategy like this. Someone like Lenny Yoro, De Ligt, they wouldn't be coming to Manchester United if the Glazers were still in charge. So the Glazers, I think it's improved from the Glazers, because the Glazers, they had bankers. They had bankers like Ed Woodward working, Richard Arnold. All these guys were bankers. So right now we have proper people, right? Dan Ashworth, he's really loved. He's already done things in the game. At Newcastle, Dan Ashworth, he was one of their most exciting people to bring into Newcastle, right? When Newcastle actually got that new money, Dan Ashworth was the man they celebrated the most because of what he did at Brighton. And now Manchester United, he's at Manchester United making a lot of big moves, massive moves. And in a few years, it takes time to actually build a team. It takes time. We're not moving. Chelsea are only building this. Dan Ashworth is class. He's class. And Chelsea, they're only moving like this because they have unlimited money, right? You can see how they're moving Chelsea. They're buying a young player every second, every day. Look at the signings they've made. Neto, João Felix, now Jadon Sancho, and without FFP, right? These guys, they're obviously overspending Chelsea. Chelsea are overspending. The previous season, they bought Caicedo for 100 million, this and that. So we're not going to move like Chelsea, right? We obviously have a price limitation because Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the board, they said, okay, we're not going to overpay for players. We're not going to overdo, and we're not going to overcommit. He might become the next Sterling, right? We just have to wait and see. He might become the next Sterling because a Sancho, he can be a hit, he can be a miss. Anything can happen, right? We've seen a lot of players make it. We've seen a lot of players underperform. So he might be a miss, he might be a hit. And their new manager, It's still up and down. There's still a lot of questions. Will he succeed? Will he not succeed? Chelsea's new manager. Yes, they won extremely well in their previous game, but he's still a bit shaky in the defense, right? Chelsea are still a bit shaky in the defense, and their new manager, he's still a question mark. He's still a massive question mark. Will he succeed? But he has some fundamentals where you think, okay, yeah, the new Chelsea manager, he might succeed. He might actually get over the line. He might actually be a good manager, but there's still some red flags, right? His defense is a massive red flag because you can see how Chelsea are conceding goals. If they play better teams, they're not winning games, right? So the new Chelsea manager, Chelsea, Man United, that top four race, it's gonna be massive. It's gonna be massive because both of us, we don't know how the season. Maybe he'll get sacked. Maybe he won't. Right? Maybe he'll get sacked. Maybe he won't. He's hit and miss. Right? He's an unknown. Unknown. The Chelsea manager, he's unknown. But yeah, most Chelsea managers, they do get fired. So if he goes on a bad run, he might get fired like other Chelsea managers. So yeah, with Jadon Sancho, you going to Chelsea, it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss because there's a lot of competition. There are other people that will give you a run for your money, right? And the positive with Sancho is that his wages are gone. We're paying him a lot of money. His wages are gone. Yes, he's a good player, but he hasn't done enough to actually guarantee those wages. It's not like Ronaldo, right? Ronaldo, when he was in his prime at Manchester United after winning a Champions League, we refused to give him such type of money. But then right now we're giving players that haven't won major trophies a lot of money like this. He's not someone like Ronaldo who you can give all that money. Even Rashford, I think Rashford, he's on too much money. Because if you compare him to the Man City players, look at the money most of these Man City players are on. Less than Rashford. And Rashford has done less in football, right? Rashford, he's making more than Kevin De Bruyne. And he hasn't actually done a lot for Manchester United to earn that type of money. So I think the wage structure is going to change over a period of time. We see what Ineos are doing. They've come in, they have a strategy. They're trying to make massive moves. And yeah, it's going to be a hard season just based on our first two games. They weren't great, but I hope we can get some type of stability because of course Ugarte has come in. He's a midfielder that will recover the ball well, that will anticipate a lot of danger, right? He's similar to N'Golo Kante, right? He will recover the ball well. He will actually get back. When we lose the ball, he's there to recover it. He's there to anticipate the game. He's there to actually read the game and then anticipate, okay, this is how I can win the ball back. This is what I can do to actually help Manchester United. And Ugarte, he's going to improve our midfield because we will have the ball more, right? And with an Ugarte, now you can see, okay, can we play Eriksen? Because now you have the legs. Before, the problem was Eriksen playing in a team where you don't have legs. If you just put Eriksen there to create, he's an unbelievable player. But then when you expect him to run around, recover the ball, this and that, he's gonna look lost, right? He's gonna look like a horrible player. But if you just give him that freedom to play, you give Eriksen that freedom to play, he's gonna improve the team massively. And yeah, Jadon Sancho, yeah, I hope he doesn't succeed and I hope he declines Chelsea massively, right? Because I hate Chelsea. I hate our rival clubs, Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool. I hate those teams. And selling good players to any of those teams, I hate that, right? I hate when we actually do that. And overall, we still have a lot to look forward to, right? We have new players, we have a great foundation. The board foundation has been built. Now it's time to build the team foundation. We've built the board foundation. Omar Barada is here. Dan Ashworth is here. So step by step, they're building a foundation. And overall, it's the same like a business. A business, you won't get success immediately, right? It takes time. It's step by step. It's actually steady growth will help you actually achieve these goals because we've strengthened the defense. We've brought in a midfielder, so there is a lot of progress. There is a lot of things to actually say, hey, we're better than we were last season. Our defense is better than it was last season. Our midfield is better than it was last season just based on how good Ogarte is at winning the ball back. So right now it's up to our new players to perform, right? We can be excited about our new players, but it's about them performing, avoiding injuries, and just taking us to the next level as Manchester United. If you can take us to that next level where we're competing against top teams, right? I want to go back to the days where we're competing head to head, right? Manchester United versus Manchester City for the league, right? That last season for Sir Alex Ferguson, it was unbelievable, right? So I want Man United to go back to the days where you're competing for the Premier League. And that's going to take some time. That's going to take a lot of patience. Patience pays. Patience pays. And overall, if you can take it step by step, you can actually reach the goal. And yeah, we've signed some good players. And also a young midfielder, right? We've signed a young midfielder. Obviously, he won't be playing with the first team, but he's one for the future. So this transfer window, it's been good. It's been good. Of course, as fans, we want more. We want, okay, maybe another attacker. Okay, maybe another midfielder. But realistically, you gotta take what you have, right? You gotta work with what you have and try and build from that. Try and see what you can actually gain, right? A lot of teams, they come in with a lot. Real Madrid, they signed Kylian Mbappe, but they're struggling right now. He's struggling to score goals. And overall, you just have to work with what you have. Sometimes the best improvement you can do is improving the people you already have, right? Improving what you already have, working with what you already have. And that's literally the best steps you can take as a club. Genuinely work with the players we have. Yes, Anthony hasn't been performing, but if you can work with him and find a system that can get the best out of him, we can go far. Work with what we have. And yeah, Man United, I hope January we go back into the transfer window, try and sign another attacker, another winger, because our wingers, they're actually underperforming and we need somebody to add more quality. But overall, it's been a good window. And yeah, now it's time to focus on Liverpool. Now it's time to focus on the Premier League. We're going to have a lot of games in the Europa League. You focus on that. You focus on your overall season. Let's not dwell on players that have already left. Sancho, he's gone. McTominay, he's gone. So right now, let's work with what we have. Work with the players we have. And I hope we get top 4 this season. That should be the main priority. Top 4 and a trophy should be the main priority for Manchester United because we're moving in the right direction, but we need to actually reach a level where you're competing for the major things, where you're competing for the major trophies, and it's going to take some time. Yeah, Liverpool, it's scaring me right now. Liverpool, of course, we should be the favorites because the manager, He's played this manager before. This is a new manager. He's settled in, and we should just go into this game and dominate and control Liverpool. They're not that scary. They're not as good as they were under Jurgen Klopp. I'm looking at Liverpool the way I look at Tottenham, right? At Spurs. If we're playing Spurs, we don't expect to lose because their manager isn't as good as someone like Jurgen Klopp. So their new manager, Liverpool, we should be going into this game thinking, okay, we need to win. This is a new manager. He's under experience in the Premier League. He's still getting used to his new team. So we should exploit that lack of adaptation, right? He's still settling in, and we should exploit that. We should actually take advantage of Liverpool and try and win the game. Don't concede too many goals. Don't make mistakes, and start Delete. This should be Delete's first start. The Liverpool game, we just want to see him play. We just want to see him start, because if you start Harry Maguire, a lot of Liverpool players, they're going to exploit him. Because when you pressure Harry Maguire, he's going to make a mistake. Same with Andre Onana. These two players, you can either have one or the other, right? Either Maguire or Onana. Because both of them, they have the capabilities of making a mistake when you pressure them. Maguire, he's been playing well recently, but we've seen in the past how Harry Maguire moves, right? There's some moments where he's going to make a mistake when you pressure him. Same with Andre Onana. Andre Onana, he's improved this season, but majority of that last season, we saw the mistakes. Let's hope he actually cuts that out. If we can avoid mistakes against Liverpool, we can go extremely far. And that notion of going extremely far, it needs to be with Manchester United. You just build confidence, build consistency, and overall, during the season, you can go to a new level you never even imagined. Because if you build that consistency step by step, game by game, and that would take you extremely far, game by game. That's all you need. Because Manchester City, what they did was not normal, because most teams won't buy 6-7 right backs. That's what Pep Guardiola did in his first season, right? They bought him a goalkeeper. He replaced it the same season. They bought him a goalkeeper. They bought him like 3 goalkeepers. So that's not normal. The progression from Manchester City isn't normal if you're following the rules, right? If you're following the FFP rules, that progression Man City actually made isn't normal, right? Because they were actually breaking some rules to get to where they are. So we shouldn't have those. We should have those type of expectations, but sometimes they're unrealistic to actually be extremely competitive in one season, right? Ineos, they've come in, they've sorted out some things, they've sorted out this and that, but overall, we should judge them next season. This season, they're just settling in. Next season is where that's judgment day, right? You've been at Manchester United for a full season. Next season, that's when we judge Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Okay, how was your first season? You brought in this guy, you brought in that guy. Okay, that's really looking good, right? Because last season, we saw what happened when we brought in John Murta. A lot of people were praising him, but then right now, he left with nothing, right? He underperformed. John Murta underperformed. So we shouldn't do what we did with John Murta. We need to give Ineos at least a season, at least 2 seasons. Then you judge, okay, were they successful? Are they literally making massive progress? And that's how you actually judge the board and the players. The players we've signed this season, we can judge them next season. Right now, we're able to judge Anthony because he's been here for some time now. We've seen majority of his games, he doesn't have an impact. And right now, it looks like Raheem Sterling joins Arsenal. That looks to be done official. Sancho joins Chelsea. That is done, and soon it'll be official, right? He's doing his medical, Jadon Sancho, and we're literally 8 minutes away from the transfer window closing. So overall, it's been a good transfer window. We've made some progress in the defense. We've made some progress in the midfield. And we just need to take this progress into the actual football game, right? Take these players and build their confidence, win games, and just try to build something sustainable. If you can build sustainability, you can go extremely far. Man United, I want you to go extremely far. Build something sustainable, build something you can actually smile about, right? Be excited for the games. Fans need to be excited for the games. We're playing Liverpool. I think every fan should look forward to the Liverpool game, because I think although a lot of people, we anticipate that, okay, we're going to lose the Liverpool game because of our previous game, but I think we need to give Eric Ten Hag some type of hope, right? Because he's already played this Liverpool manager, and I expect him to know one or two things to do to actually win against this new Liverpool manager. No manager knows this Liverpool manager more than Eric Ten Hag. So that Liverpool game, we should be going into it as favorites. Transfer window about to close. And yeah, that's just, it's been a crazy transfer. We've had some extremely good moments. So at the end of the day, I can't complain. We've made some deals, right? If we actually compare ourselves to Arsenal, we look extremely better than them, right? We've done better business. We've done better. We're moving actually better than Arsenal, because look at the transfers Arsenal have actually done. It's actually underwhelming. So for Manchester United, if you can keep having transfer windows like this season after season, eventually you're going to get it right. Eventually you're going to build a team that can challenge for the league. Eventually you're going to actually win the league. Of course, a lot of this will come up to the manager, right? The manager, he's the most important part of this. Let's hope Eric Ten Hag can find a way to actually make this team try to be competitive, right? The board have backed you, and now it's up to you, Eric. It's up to you to help us reach the top, right? All the players are there. It's up to the manager now. The board, they've done their job. The board, okay, you said I don't want Jadon Sancho. The board have sold Jadon Sancho. You said, okay, I want Delete. The board have bought you Delete. Okay, so now it's up to Eric Ten Hag. Can you perform after being given everything? That's the main question. We have to wait and find out. And Manchester United, let's hope we win something major extremely soon. Liverpool versus Man United, that will be an exciting game. I just want to thank everybody that joined the stream, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.